Football fans, buckle up. Because tonight, under the lights of St. James's Park, we've got a Premier League showdown that promises drama, passion, and potentially chaos, both on and off the pitch. Liverpool versus Newcastle United isn't just another fixture. It's a battle layered with storylines, controversies, and shocking twists. From Alexander Isak's transfer saga to Eddie Howe's injury crisis to Arne Slot's new-look Liverpool hunting for dominance, this game has everything you could possibly imagine. But here's the kicker. As many as 5 players could be missing in action tonight. Yes, you heard that right. 5 potential absentees that could completely change the complexion of this clash. And to make matters even juicier, Eddie Howe has finally broken silence with a fresh update on Alexander Isak, a player Liverpool fans can't stop talking about. So stay tuned until the very end because we're breaking down every single angle. The players missing, the tactical battle, the mind games between managers, and whether Isak could still become a Liverpool player before the transfer window slams shut. And trust me, you don't want to miss the big twist we'll reveal at the end of this video. Let's dive in. Picture this. It's Monday night in Tyneside. The atmosphere at St. James's Park is electric. Over 50,000 Geordies roaring, waving. Black and white flags desperate to see their side take down one of English football's giants. Meanwhile, in the away end, the traveling cop are singing their lungs out, confident that Arne Slot's new Liverpool is ready to send a statement to the entire Premier League. Liverpool come into this match off the back of a thrilling 4-2 win over Bournemouth at Anfield. It wasn't always comfortable. Bournemouth made them sweat. But late goals from Federico Chiesa, the new hero at Anfield, and of course Mohamed Salah, sealed the 3 points. On the other hand, Newcastle's campaign didn't exactly begin with fireworks. They were held to a goalless draw by Aston Villa, and the story wasn't the performance, it was the absence. Alexander Isak, their most dangerous weapon, was nowhere to be seen. Why? Because the Swedish star is in the middle of a storm, reportedly refusing to give his all as he pushes for a dream move to Liverpool. That's right. Newcastle's talisman is essentially on strike. So with Isak unavailable and potentially 5 more absentees, Newcastle might just be stepping into battle with one hand tied behind their back. The 5 players who could miss. Out. Let's break down the potential absentees because this could shape the game before a ball is even kicked. Alexander Isak, the big one. We already know his head is turned. Reports suggest he's training separately, sulking in silence, waiting for Newcastle to accept Liverpool's interest. Without him, Newcastle lose not just goals, but their focal point, their outball, their pace in behind. Joelinton, the midfield powerhouse. Injured in training and a massive doubt for tonight. Without him, Newcastle's midfield loses that aggressive bite, that ability to break play and drive forward. Callum Wilson, their backup striker, the poacher, the man who usually steps up when Isak isn't around. But he too is a doubt, carrying a niggle that's kept him sidelined. Sven Botman, their rock at the back. If Botman doesn't start, Liverpool's forwards, Salah, Chiesa, and Darwin Núñez, will be licking their lips at a weakened defense. Joe Willock, the box-to-box dynamo. Another huge loss. His ability to break into the final, third and support attacks has often been Newcastle's hidden weapon. Think about that for a second. That's potentially 5 starters missing. Against a Liverpool side that looks fresher, sharper, and more ruthless with each game under Arne Slot. That's not just bad luck. That's a nightmare scenario for Eddie Howe. Now, Eddie Howe isn't the type of manager to make excuses, but you can't help but wonder, how does he set up this Newcastle side without his biggest weapons? We've already seen hints. Against Aston Villa, Anthony Gordon was pushed into a central role, playing as a false 9. It worked to some extent. His energy kept Villa's defense busy. But without a natural striker, Newcastle lacked cutting edge. Tonight, Howe may have no choice but to roll with the same approach. Gordon up front, Almiron and Barnes on the wings, hoping to nick something from scraps. But here's the thing. Liverpool's defense, with Virgil van Dijk marshalling the backline, might find that far easier to handle than chasing Isak's pace in behind. So Howe's stuck. Does he risk Isak despite the tension? Or does he freeze him out completely to prove a point? Well, in his latest press conference, Howe gave a cryptic update. Isak is part of the squad, but his focus has to be right. The team comes first. That, my friends, is manager speak for he's not mentally there, which essentially tells us don't expect him to play tonight. While Newcastle battle problems, Liverpool smell blood. Arne Slot has already brought a new energy to this team. You could see it against Bournemouth. The press was sharp, the fullbacks pushed high, and Chiesa looked like a man possessed. The Italian winger has hit the ground running, and alongside Salah, they're forming a partnership that could terrorize defenses all season. Then, there's Dominik Szoboszlai. He didn't get on the score sheet last weekend, but his midfield performance was pure class. Switching play, driving runs, and linking beautifully with Alexis McAllister. And don't forget Darwin Núñez, who might just be unleashed tonight. He didn't start against Bournemouth, but his pace and physicality could be devastating against a weakened Newcastle backline. This is the difference. Liverpool have depth. Newcastle, without Isak and Wilson, don't. That's why this game could tilt heavily in the Reds' favor. Now, let's step away from the pitch for a moment, because the biggest story surrounding this match isn't even about tonight's 90 minutes. It's about the transfer market. Alexander Isak to Liverpool. It sounds wild. It sounds impossible. But make no mistake, Liverpool are serious. Reports suggest they've already tested Newcastle with a massive bid, and while the Magpies slammed, the door shut. Isak himself has cracked that door open by sulking and pushing for a move. Liverpool's owners see him as the perfect long-term successor to Salah, and maybe even the missing piece of the puzzle to fire them back to Premier League glory. And here's the big twist. This match isn't just a battle for 3 points, it's an audition. Isak, whether he plays or not, is making headlines. Newcastle. Fans are turning on him, Liverpool fans are dreaming of him, and by the time the transfer window shuts, he could very well be wearing red. Imagine that. Tonight's opponents, tomorrow's hero, talk about football, writing its own script. All right, let's get tactical. If Newcastle are without Isak and Wilson, they'll probably sit deep, soak up pressure, and try to hit Liverpool on the counter. Eddie Howe will pack midfield, rely on Gordon's work rate, and hope his defense holds firm. But Liverpool? They'll come flying out of the traps. High press, fullbacks bombing on, Chiesa and Salah cutting inside, dragging defenders everywhere. It's going to be wave after wave of red pressure. The question is, can Newcastle survive the storm long enough to land a counterpunch? Or will Liverpool's firepower simply be too much? So what's going to happen? Here's my take. Without Isak, without Joelinton, without Botman, Newcastle are in trouble. Liverpool have too much momentum, too much depth, and too much quality. I'm predicting a 3-1 Liverpool win. Salah and Chiesa to score again, with Núñez off the bench to finish the job. But here's the big one for you to debate in the comments. Should Liverpool keep pushing for Isak before the transfer window closes? Or should they focus on other targets? Drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just about tonight's game. This could be the beginning of a transfer story that shakes the Premier League to its very core. If you've made it this far, you're a true football fan, and I've got more breaking Liverpool stories dropping right here on the channel every single day. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Anfield Vibes, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. Liverpool versus Newcastle